There. So, with Advent, a new church year begins, and with it, our focus of not only in preparing for the celebration of Christ's birth, but also on Christ's return again. This time, also called the Second Coming or End Times, marks a fulfillment of Christ's mission and our hope for a new beginning around what God has yet to come. As we read in today's Gospel, St. Mark's depiction of all this is quite vivid. And we who have been reading our Bibles cover to cover this year have already seen several times this kind of unveiling language called apocalyptic. We've seen this language in the books of Daniel, Joel, Ezekiel, Zechariah, 2 Thessalonians, Revelation, and several places in the Gospels. It's also been the case, especially since the 19th century, that these writings have invited a lot of speculation about when exactly the times will end and when exactly Christ will return again. The fact that Jesus himself has said in today's gospel that no one knows has not deterred cosmic biblical mystery diviners or doomsday street corner preachers or self-described modern-day prophets or YouTube sensationalists from devoting vast amounts of energy explaining why now is the time for the end times. Even when every prediction so far has been wrong, it keeps coming up. Recent activity in Israel and Gaza, for example, has fueled increased speculation among some that this is it, folks. This time, it's it. It's really happening this time, so get ready. So all this has prompted me to ponder these things, leading me to what might be my very first what if sermon. That is, what if they're right? And to this, I need to add a disclaimer here. I assure you that what I'm about to say from this point forward has not happened to me personally, but what if it did? What if the word of the Lord personally and exclusively came to me in a vision, and what if God personally told me that Jesus is not only coming soon, or soon and very soon, but it will most certainly be this coming Thursday, December 7th, at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? What if? God did not tell me exactly where Jesus will first appear, but God did say that everyone will know it, especially if you're on social media, who isn't, or watching network news, or just happen to be outside wherever Jesus lands. And if somehow you miss that appearance, you'll know what's going on very shortly, because the end times will shortly follow. Yes, sir, the apocalyptic horror in Mark's very grim weather forecast this morning was not just symbolic. It's all over soon. Now, the reason God told me to share this with you today is so that you can have a head start getting ready. Everyone else is getting their final warning tomorrow during a live streaming event. But apparently God has decided to give advance warning to us here at St. Paul's and watching online so that we have one final chance to get ready before things start to get a little crazy. Think about it. First of all, after this news spreads, money won't be worth anything. The whole idea of currency depends on the assumption that time goes on forever. Therefore, when people find out that time runs out on Thursday, money won't buy anything. No one will even hear the stock market crash, because come Tuesday, no one will bother to show up for trading. Now, I wouldn't worry about things like groceries, though, because when they find out, are just going to be giving everything away. What would be the point of having it? What would be the point of having anything? I mean, why keep it? What might we need for just 2 days? Now, I know. Some of you are saying, well, I could use a lot of things. But remember, by Thursday, it's all going to be over. So what if you could have your very own dream whatever for just 2 whole days? I don't believe you'll find it that important. It's going to be interesting. A lot of people are going to straighten up their acts. The married co-workers, but not to each other, who were planning to carry on their affair during that conference convention on Wednesday, well, come Monday night, the affair won't seem so attractive at all. He'll want to be home with his kids, she with hers. You watch. See if I'm right. More than a few families will get a lot closer in the days ahead. The ancient grudges that happen in families and old resentments, they just won't matter anymore. Time will instead be spent thinking about those things that brought them together. And those things were far more important than whatever kept them apart. All this will be important. Time for closure. A time for preparing for what's ahead when thy kingdom finally comes. There'll be lots of hugging and holding on to each other, a commodity actually much more precious than any of the presents they were planning to buy each other for Christmas. All this because by Thursday, the time we have together will be just too short. Too short to waste it on petty and unimportant things. With the Lord finally returning, all our attention is going to be on that event only. No more frantic Christmas shopping. No, for students, no more studying for exams. No more worrying about the cost of braces for your children's teeth. No more worrying about retirement savings or inflation or the high cost of health insurance. No more worrying about elections or court cases or getting a job or even getting laid off. Come Thursday, we're all laid off. See, by Thursday, it's all gone. When the big announcement about the Lord's return is made Monday night, even the military personnel operating drones or defense systems deep beneath the earth, they will be going home. They're not going to stay in those command centers anymore. They're going to be home to be with family and friends. See, the fighting's over because there's no reason to have a war anymore. There'll be nothing left to protect, nothing to gain. We can't gain land, we can't gain power, we can't gain money, we can't gain economic superiority, and no other country can gain anything either. By Thursday, the prophet Isaiah will be proven right when he declares that in the latter days there will be peace. Swords will be beaten into plowshares, spears into pruning hooks. All the nations shall flow as water unto the Lord, Isaiah says, and this is God's plan of salvation. Wonderfully, as Christians, we'll see God's master plan is finally fulfilled as Christ, who died and rose from the dead, now returns again to usher in the kingdom. That plan is further amplified by St. Paul, who talks about the Lord's return as the fullness of time. That final time when salvation will be at hand and when the people of God shall clearly choose the light over the darkness. We will feel the power of this exhortation as we await the Lord's coming this Thursday. Now, before I go any further, I need to share just one more thing. While this meditation has been solely based on a what-if scenario in my own imagination, I am convinced that nearly everything I have shared with you thus far is true. Nearly. The only thing I'm not sure of is, well, if Christ is coming back this Thursday at 3 o'clock, I don't know if it will be 3 o'clock or if it will be Thursday, or if it'll be this week, or this month, or this year, or this century. As far as specifics go, the scriptures very clearly tell us. We heard it this morning, right? No one knows. I do believe, however, that the Gospels are absolutely true when Jesus says that in Mark's Gospel and elsewhere that if we really knew when Christ was coming, we would be ready. And all those anxieties and worries that so concern us today just wouldn't be so important. We would recognize and celebrate our good minds, for instance, giving to learning and exploring God's creation, our good hearts, so wanting to love and be loved, our good spirits, so desiring to trust in all God's promises. I mean, wouldn't we want to do so much more good if we had that time? So much more good for each other and this whole world. All now because we would not be afraid to let go and trust God. Not be afraid to share God's goodness. Because we know it's ending soon. Our time. So what if, then, we had today, and tomorrow, and Tuesday, and Wednesday, to get ready for the Lord's coming on Thursday? What would you do? And one more what if. What if we actually do have plenty more time before Jesus comes back? What if? So let me leave you with this. Until Christ comes again, whether it be Thursday or whenever, what do you want to do? And what will you do? May God be with you in all your thoughts. Amen.